Hey folks, so in this video we are going to replace the i5-12600K with the not so powerful i3-12100f. So why am I doing this? Well, we've got RTX 3090 here, and might as well be the first person to make a video with it, right? So first we're going to take the CPU fan off, and I'm not going to completely unplug it because I think we can get away with this, hopefully, or not. Come on, get off there. There we go. So we're just going to put this over to the side. Kept it connected, the 4-pin's still connected. So yeah, I might as well be one of the first people to waste their time pairing this with 3090. I am honestly curious how well this will do. You know, the i5-12600K at times was honestly less than stellar in some gaming. Other gaming is pretty darn impressive, depending on the resolution, the quality, right? But you know, this is going to be a step down, a couple steps down, really. We are going to have an i5-12400f. I would assume that my B660 will show up by then, and that will go in that motherboard. It may never see this motherboard. I do plan on tomorrow switching this out again. And you know, stupid me, well actually, to get the CPU out, you do need to take all the brackets out of this thing. So, needless to say, folks, I should have started with these screws, right? I always pride myself on how many of these Noctuas I've installed, and suddenly I'm sitting here going, hey, this ain't going to work. So we'll get this out of here. But yeah, to get the CPU out of this, you do have to probably take off both these. Sometimes you can get away with, like, well, here, let's be lazy. You guys even see that? I hope you guys can see that. We're going to take one of these off and see if I can swing it over this way. Maybe. There we go. That should clear. So on the side, I'm going to clean these up, and then we're going to swap out the CPUs. Alright, so these are both cleaned up. Could work on this a little bit more. Probably should before we put it back on. So we're just going to pop this guy off here and see how that came up, and you definitely needed the bracket out of the way. Things to note here, folks. Sometimes, maybe not with the 12th gen, you will see markings on here to help you line up the we're looking at upside down. So there's a triangle right here, right? That triangle lines up with this triangle on your CPU. The other thing to look at is the way the text is, left to right. So the back of the, what would be the back of the case is the left side, and you know, since we read left to right, the right side's over by the RAM. So different ways to look at it. Now, where is our CPU at? We need to go find it. Alright, so we do have the unboxing on the channel, and hopefully you can see that. This is the, depending on how I hold it, i3-12100f. Soon to be kicked out of here for the i7. I don't even know how many video games I'll get out of this thing, folks. Probably not very many. Alright, so there it is. And I'm holding the other CPU when I should probably have my hands free. Alright, so we're just going to plop this guy back down in here and gently snapping this back in. You don't want to, if you have to use a lot of force, you could be damaging the pins. Alright, so it's back in there. We're going to set this aside somewhere safe. Now this guy, I want to make sure it's in here. It was not, right? So you have to be seriously careful with these things. If they are not in, you will bend up the pins. I've seen it. I actually don't think I've ever done it, but I did have somebody return a CPU to me one time, and I'm like, this clearly was something you damaged, because guess what? I have photos showing what this thing looks like before you wrecked it. So folks, we've got it in here, and this guy, you know, these are a little different than the past, right? Just making sure one more time that's in there. Now this guy is going to swing down, and boom. So that sucker is on there tighter than you know what. So that's good to go. Now we need to get our brackets ready to go. And you know, like I said, loosen these first, folks, if you were to replace this. Don't do what I did. You know, you can do this 100 times and still occasionally screw up. The main thing is, hopefully, when you screw up, hopefully it doesn't cost you a component, right? Alright, so we saved a little time here with this guy. Swinging it out, boom, back in place, right? And the other good thing about that is, by having it there like that, I easily can remember which way the other side's going to go. Just like that. So I don't know if I'll do this again for the 12700F. I might, just to, you know, in case people are wondering, hey, do you really have this CPU? Oh yeah. And hey, is this CPU really installed on that thing? Yes. So then you can also see if I butcher the thermal paste, right? You know, this CPU, they want you to do things differently. One big daub in the middle and four almost on the corners. Alright, so we're tightening that down. Wow. I don't know if this one's screwing in, folks, because it is not going anywhere. There we go. Wow, that was a lot of threads. So that guy's in there. Yeah, you want to make sure these things are tight, but not to the point you break something, right? Okay, that's good to go. Thermal paste. So, yours truly usually uses Noctua on the channel, right? We also occasionally use some really cheap shit. Then we also have some this Arctic stuff, MX5, MX4 you'll see on the channel. So let's try and use up our little tube here. And I was going to buy more Noctua, but I ended up buying more Arctic. So this is almost out, folks. That's not enough at all. We might be in trouble. Now, hopefully there's some left in here. 10 grams this thing contains, but I have used this on multiple continents. Alright, so let's put a little here. Now what I haven't done really is mix thermal paste brands. And I don't think we're going to have to do it this time, but alright, that should be good. So what they say, Noctua says, I think 4mm diameter, you know, that obviously is in a circle, right? And then some on the outside, so hopefully that's good. You'll know right away when your temperatures suck, right? Alright, so we're going to put this back on. Hopefully lining this up good. Nothing worse than not lining them up right. So I always try to just get a few threads on one side, then I'll go to the other side. And then I'll check to see that's on. And we have to press down a little bit on this side. And then we'll try again. We did not succeed. Which, you know, in some ways, hey, we just smeared our thermal paste all over the place. Maybe pushed it off of the CPU. Alright, so it's on. Both sides, we got a few threads. Now we're going to tighten it down. And, you know, I was recording a lot in 4K on this channel. I found it's a lot easier at times to just use my cell phone, which is a cheap piece of shit. But eventually we'll upgrade. I do have all kinds of 4K camera cell phones, and so eventually we will go that route. Now, one thing I failed to note, PSU, you should cut it off, turn it off. You know, there's a switch on the PSU. Maybe even unplug it when you're doing this. Alright, so that's on there. Now, because we save time, we'll just put this back on. Intake side, right? Sucking in cool air, pushing it across the CPU cooler and then out the back of the case. And, you know, normally you would take off the graphics card. I'm trying to save time, get this going. It's late here. And you can also tell, like I said, I told you to shut the power supply off. Yours truly did not do that. Anybody can tell how you can tell? This has got RGB on the motherboard, right? So, that said, let's go ahead and fire this up, folks. And voila, we've got a new i3-12100f. So, I'm watching the screen over here. I don't think I've turned the monitor's on, and it's firing up. So, I'm going to play some Fortnite. Check out the video. Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.